All right, so I'm currently on the phone with Brandon. He's another musician that reached out about the current interview series. So I'm going to go ahead and give him the chance to introduce himself.
Hi, this is Brandon Sellers. I'm a local musician in the Savannah, coastal Georgia area. I sing, play guitar, as well as play banjo solo, as well as with a myriad of other local artists and bands. And I'm happy to be here.
Excellent, awesome. So I always like to, get into the beginning with these interviews and find out, what was it about music that really motivated you to get into it right away and made you want to participate in it?
Sure, I've been playing music since I was 12 years old. So I mean, it's been a long while. When I initially started, I got into piano as a small child because my grandparents had a piano in their house that I liked to mess around on. And once in a while, a tune would come out that sounded somewhat musical. So my parents put me through piano lessons, and it was not a good fit. My piano teacher was, classically trained and very much was trying to train me by the same methods. Practice this scale this many hours a day, practice this Rachmaninoff piece this long, and it didn't work well for me as a child. So I kind of gave up on piano lessons as a like I guess I was around 9 or 10, and then around the age of 12, I decided I wanted to get into guitar. I don't remember what initially got me into it. I think I saw uh, somebody playing guitar live at a restaurant that my family was eating at. I remember thinking to myself, "Man, that just looks like a lot of fun. He looks really cool. I want to do that too." So um, that plus the motivation to kind of I was like, oh, I spent all this time doing piano and I don't know how to play piano. I want to prove to my family that I can, actually learn an instrument. And so I kept pushing my parents to put me through guitar lessons. My granddad bought me a really cheap uh, nylon string classical guitar from a local auction, and I started up some lessons, and uh, they went well. I had a teacher who was very much kind of go with the flow, play what makes you happy, and that worked well for me and my motivation. And I picked up the instrument pretty quickly. Um, and the rest is history. I started playing guitar, and eventually a family member bought me a banjo as a Christmas instrument, so I tagged that onto my list, and I started playing and never really stopped.
Nice. So, would you say that most of your experience in learning an instrument took place like outside of the school curriculum and you did most of it like through private lessons and your own hobby interest?
Yeah, for sure. So I definitely didn't get a lot from, I took a guitar course in middle school, and I didn't retain anything from that. But, private one on one lessons, as well as, self teaching and, books, YouTube videos, as well as just, finding other people who played the instrument. And I would find a friend of mine who played, and if I liked the way that they played something, I'd record them on my phone and I'd just watch it and try to copy it, watch it and try to copy it, and just replay it over and over and over again. And I learned a lot just from doing that. I just emulate the people who I enjoyed listening to locally. And if I had questions or didn't understand how they did something, oh, I could just call them up and ask them themselves. So
So, once you did kind of feel comfortable actually, playing the instrument and everything, when did you start like writing your own music or working with other bands? Did you ever participate in like the garage band type stuff?
yeah, I had a lot of people in high school that I backed up playing mostly cover songs, Southern gospel, and I grew up playing bluegrass, Southern gospel music, and playing in a lot of churches. I started trying to write music whenever I was in high school, but none of it ever really stuck. I didn't start writing uh, my own original material until a an old church friend by the name of William Wilds called me um, when I was in college, my sophomore year. I guess it was 2017 or 2018, and asked if I would help him with a few projects he was working on. And I was like, well, I haven't really written any songs, but I'll try. And it went well, and he liked what I sent to him, and I've got I started participating in the local chapter of Nashville Songwriters Association in the Savannah area. Made some cool connections there. Started meeting other people that wrote and collaborating. So I don't have a lot of songs that I've written on my own or that I've written for myself, but I've collaborated on a lot of songs and I've written a lot of songs for other artists.
Okay. So would you kind of define yourself more as like a session musician then?
Yes and no. So I've done a lot of work as a session musician and as a writer for other people, but this is, the first year that I'm finally getting into writing my own material. I've written 4 songs for myself so far this year that have yet to be debuted. Um, but they're going on an album have released by the end. Worst one. So on, and I would consider myself an original artist, but a budding one who is, kind of just getting started.
Okay. And so if you're just at the process of you're beginning to write your own material, are you also looking to bring in band members to work on your own stuff, or what are you kind of envisioning for yourself?
Yes, so I don't have a band per se. I've more got a group of about 6 or 7 different friends who all are multi instrumentalists, and who are all very talented together casually on a as we can basis, and work on writing and collaborating, and we'll occasionally play gigs together. But they've been helping me through the process as well of creating some of my own original material. I have one original song that you can hear on my Facebook that's just recorded on a video, but it's not on any streaming platforms. Um, it's called Mathematics of the Heart. But yeah, I'm working on a lot of original material that I'm planning to release on all streaming platforms in December of 2023.
Nice, very cool. So, where would you like to kind of see that get to once you do get to that point where you've released that material? What's the next step after that? Are you going to start looking at booking shows? Are you going to go right back into the studio? What are you planning?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I am currently working on booking more live performances now. That's actually a lot of the funding for my recording projects is going to all be coming from performing locally, bars, events, private events, weddings, etc. And I'm doing a lot of cover shows, playing a combination of blues, classic rock, folk, indie, um, country music, southern rock, pop, classic pop standards, you name it. But I'm also throwing in some original material that I'm performing live, just to kind of see, what kind of responses do I get, what songs work for what crowds, and letting those responses kind of inform my plans and my approach to the record that I'm creating.
Mm-hmm.
And once I've completed that project, my hope is that it will kind of bolster my own personal music business that I'm working on with performing locally, and uh, kind of add to my following a little bit, as well as just kind of share with the people who do already come out to listen to my performances a little bit more of who I am as an artist, besides just somebody who plays, a lot of decent covers.
Okay, sure. So looking back at the period of time that you have been participating in music, what would you kind of define are some of your favorite memories of either writing a song or recording a song or playing live? What really stands out and motivates you?
So, favorite memory of writing a song has to be the song that I mentioned that's on my Facebook page, Mathematics of the Heart. It was actually I was talking to a roommate of mine, telling him I'm trying to get into writing music and I'm struggling to come up with an idea, and he was like, "Well, I'm working on math homework. If you can write a song that's nothing but math terminology but still sounds good, then I'll give you $20." And I really wanted that $20. So in 10 minutes, I popped out this breakup song that was based completely in math puns and sang it for him. And he thought it was hilarious. And I started singing it for other people. And It's a very simple song, and it's not much listening wise or musically wise, but
Hmm.
it's got a bunch of wordplay, and it in certain crowds that are especially going to not just want background music, but want to actually have like a full listening experience. I find people tend to respond to it well, or find it at least amusing.
Hmm.
But I always have fond memories of writing that song because I literally just wrote it in 10 minutes, with the motivation being this challenge for some beer money from my roommate.
Hmm. That's
Um,
great.
I think my favorite performing experience would have to be this time back whenever I was playing in churches in high school and early college. It was my first time playing in a Pentecostal church. And I had grown up Southern Baptist in a very, soft spoken church community and didn't really know what to expect. I knew that, they can be a bit more loud and boisterous in their, worship practices, not to get too much on the subject of religion, but um, I was extremely amused and impressed in that, they asked me to go up on stage to play their special music for this revival event. And I got up on, the stage, the altar, whatever you want to call it. And somebody behind me just yells, "Hey, what key are you playing this song in?" And I was like, this song's in the key of G." And so next thing I know, an entire band just comes out from behind the stage in the back closets. I've got a drummer, a bass player, a 12-string guitar, two electric guitars, one acoustic guitar, a mandolin, a banjo, a couple of people with tambourines, and a couple of backup singers, a piano player, and an organist, all playing behind me off the cuff. Never met these people before in my life. And everybody who was out in the congregation either had a tambourine or a harmonica or some sort of hand percussion instrument. And the entire church broke out into a full on jam session led by what I was doing. And that whole experience will always stay with me. Extremely interesting church community. But yeah, very, very different from any of the other music work that I'm currently doing. But anytime anyone's asked me what's the most interesting performing experience you've had, I've always had to say that was definitely the one.
Sure, absolutely. So you did mention that you have one song out there, "The Mathematics of the Heart." Where can people find that, and then also check out the stuff once you do release it?
So currently, the only social media that I'm really putting my material out on is my Facebook, which you can find either by searching Brandon Sellers Music on Facebook. That's Brandon Sellers, or also at facebook.com/banjo Brandon. Uh, all of my video recordings of performances that I've done, or any original material that I've recorded, just in demo format or in video format, will be uploaded to that social media profile. But I will soon be reaching out and branching out to TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and plan on creating my own website here in the near future as well. But links to all those outlets will be found on my Facebook, which is my current main source of marketing and sharing all of my work.
Sure, absolutely. Um, so I always like to give the person that I'm interviewing the opportunity to put out their last word. So just a message that you want to throw out there that you feel you resonate with.
Sure. I'll say, my whole life thus far with music, I've always approached it as just a hobby, or something to do on the side, and never really thought of it as a viable means of income or something that I could do seriously. Because mentors throughout my life always said, "Oh, well, that's you can't make money with music. You need to get a degree, get a real job." And now I have a degree and I have a real job, and I really wish I was doing more with music. And I started really diving into that this year, and lo and behold, uh, wound up being more successful, and finding all these connections and meeting all these new people that I never would have thought I would have found. So if you're one of those people who's out there and you've always wondered, oh well, should I, could I? There's no time like the present. Go ahead and give it a shot, because I really think that I could have done so much more if I would have actually taken myself seriously, taken my own ambitions and desires with music seriously. I could already be where I want to be in 5 years now. But there's no time like the present. and I'm getting started. But if there's anyone out there who was like me and just approached music as a hobby and thought, oh well, that's all it'll ever be, but you think that maybe there's a chance that it could be more, at least try it, because you're never going to know unless you give it a shot.